I'm Native American, full-blooded Apache, Mescalero Apache from the reservation down in southern New Mexico. A little 19-year-old girl got pregnant out of wedlock. Time came to give birth, so somewhere in some street or alleyway of Albuquerque, gave birth to this beautiful bouncing baby boy. And then she abandoned me at birth, went back to the reservation, and another lady came by. Her name was Princess Babe Hawk. She was a fortune teller with the crystal ball and the tarot cards and the palm reading and that sort of thing. She found me, took me in, and passed me around about 16 families before I was 6. I always accused her of, since my name is Dollar, passing the buck. But I got passed around a lot. And then at age 5, she sent me to a home for homeless and delinquent boys up in West Texas. And growing up at the ranch, we slopped the hogs and milked the cows and rode the horses, and it was actually quite a place, a great place to live. But I couldn't help feeling in my own self as kind of a little drop of water on the sea of humanity. I was just sort of drifting. What was my place? What was my significance? What was my purpose in life? Was there anything unique or special in me? And of course, from my background, nothing was. And in fact, to some extent, it was even highlighted by the staff. I would go to the ranch, and some of the staff men, I would get attached to my dorm parent, and I would really love this man, and I would, become attached to him. But then he would move on, leave the ranch or go to another dorm, and then it abandoned me again. And so it became this idea that I didn't want to let people close to me, and I didn't want to ever get closer, trusting people again. And I began to build this wall to protect me from being abandoned and from pain and hurt. But as I built that wall, I soon began to realize that the same wall that kept other people out was keeping me in. And often I would look to the heavens, and I would sit by the lake and look up at the clouds drifting and just wonder, where is my place? What is my place? And it was 8 years old when I heard the message of the gospel there at this boys' ranch. I'd say it was a rather intense conversion. You would think 8-year-old child, how deep could it be? Because he's just 8 years old. But it was pretty intense because he's all I had, and I leaned on him heavily and confided in him and talked with him. And I never knew who the Father was in my own life, but I became convinced that if you don't have a father, you can't do a whole lot better than the God of the universe. So God, at that point, became truly my father. As I grew up, the boys' ranch became kind of my home, and so I no longer thought of myself as just adrift without any purpose or meaning or significance or direction, but really a child of the King, and he had a plan for my life. I think he changed the whole direction of what could have been my life. I began to realize that I need to be loving others. So as I learned to give myself away, learned that God wanted to use me to help others, to be involved in other people's lives. And so one of the great lessons that comes out of all of this situation of how God changed the direction of my life was that if you feel abandoned, if you feel alone, if you feel insignificant and no future and no past and don't understand what is your place in the universe, it's very natural to feel that way. There are a lot of young people who share that background, who share those feelings of insignificance and lack of direction in their life. And I just want to encourage you that if you do feel that way, if that's part of your life experience, and who knows, you might even have an intact family and everything gone beautifully and still feel that way. It's part of that vacuum in the human heart that God has created us for himself. And that is the answer. When you come into that relationship with God, you're locked into the King of the universe. You're locked into his infinite being and character. You become an eternal child of God, but also we're connected with his eternal plan. We get to be a part of the redemptive plan of God for all of humanity. Talk about significance, talk about meaning and purpose and joy and delight. And I want to encourage you that whoever you are, whatever background, however limited you may feel it is, God can take insignificant, the simple, even the wounded among us. And if we will allow him, he'll take you and use you far beyond your dreams. Just keep following the Lord, and you'll be astounded in what he's going to do with your life